Hi, Paul here from Beginner Guitar Academy, and in this video I want to talk about the 5 tips to help you succeed with online guitar lessons. Now, I wrote a blog post over at beginnerguitaracademy.com/blog, so you can go and check that out, on the 5 tips. So I thought it'd be really cool, dive in a bit more detail, we can kind of explore the topic a little bit more and hopefully give you some tips. And obviously it's a massive topic. We're now learning more and more online. Instruments are being learned online, but I thought there'd be some good little kind of key takeaways, good little points I can give people to kind of help them out with online learning. So let's dive straight in with tip number 1. So tip number 1, know your why. Now when I say know your why, what I really mean is why you want to learn to play the guitar. So again, it sounds simple, but it's quite easy to not really go too in depth with that. And then you find you've started learning, you get a little bit into it, and then you realize you've been going down the wrong path. You've been learning the wrong style of music, you're not building up the skills or knowledge in the area you want to be going in. So a few good questions to kind of ask yourself, what made you want to start playing? Is that because you want to just pick up a few songs to play at maybe family gatherings? You want to just relax in the evening, just kind of a bit of a de-stressor? You have quite a stressful job and you just want something to pick up and kind of chill out? Is it because you want to go on stage, you want to perform in a band? Is it you want to write your own music? Is it you actually want to make a career out of it? Or is it just a serious hobby? Those sort of answers to those questions are really going to help make it a lot more clear about where you want to be heading and start getting you down the right road. So you can choose the right course, you can choose the right teachers online, and obviously not waste your time. So it might sound basic, but you'd be surprised how many people don't actually address that or those simple questions and just kind of dive in, and they'll say a few months down the road realize they're kind of going down the wrong path and then have to kind of pivot and go a different direction. We've all kind of been there. We started learning the wrong type of chords, for instance, is a great thing. Players start learning these fancy chords. I've had students come up to me and say, oh, I know this fancy chord, but then they have no application for it. They just think they need to learn it, but they don't want to be a jazz player, so they have no room for those chords in their kind of chord vocabulary. They're never going to use it. So bear that in mind. Make sure you're learning the right kind of stuff for you. Obviously, there are basics we want to cover. In our course, we cover a set groundwork because they're chords and their principles that we're going to use probably in any style of music. I'm talking more about kind of, I suppose, the high level stuff, but even so, you still want to be aware of that to make sure, obviously, you're not wasting your time. So that's tip number 1. Make sure you know your why. It's going to save you a lot of time wasting, and make sure you have clarity and you're setting the right path to go heading. So now let's look at tip number 2. So tip number 2, follow a structure. Now, massive this one. The amount of people that start learning just free online, just kind of type into YouTube, beginner guitar lessons, up pops a million videos, and they just start bouncing from video to video. You see this all the time in kind of the forums and things online, because people post questions like, oh, I've been learning, 2 weeks, and I'm finding bar chords really hard. But bar chords are really hard, and they're more of an intermediate technique, so you want to be learning those after a few months, years of playing, because you just won't have the strength in your hand to be able to obviously do them. So it's not having that proper sequence. Really important is a structure. Obviously, a structure will give you that sequence. It will give you that progression. More importantly as well, it will give you kind of that motivation because you can see kind of where you're heading. The path is laid out in front of you. And if it's a good curriculum, you can have these milestones you work through it. Having just a massive course of lessons is great, but you want these kind of milestones throughout there so you kind of know where you're heading for. You want these requirements of the course so you know where you're hitting. So really important to have a structure. The problem again with YouTube is a lot of the people on there, to be a YouTuber, to be a guitar teacher on YouTube, the really only requirement is to have a webcam. So a lot of YouTubers are guitar players, not always guitar teachers. Now don't get me wrong, there are some great obviously teachers. We probably know them all, Andy Guitar, Justin Sanico, Marty Schwartz, Jump Outs, they're good guitar teachers. But I'm not really talking about those guys. I'm talking about the millions of other people that have just got a webcam and they're just throwing out information and they're not really guitar teachers. They're just guitar players. And there is a massive, massive difference to that. So when you're searching online, make sure you're kind of going through the YouTube dirt, trying to find those gold nuggets, trying to find the good teachers, and then bookmark them. Make sure you save them because there's a lot of not so great teachers we say out there. So that's super important to be aware of. Make sure you're choosing your teachers wisely and try and find a good structure. This we're actually finding a program that's been around, that's been developed, something like the G4 method that we use in my offline school and we use it on my online school, is super important. It's something that's been tried, it's been tested, it's gone through tens of, probably thousands of students at this point. So all the kinks have been worked out. It's actually been developed with a student using it. So all the things that these students found tricky has been reworked. So it's been basically trying to test it is what I'm trying to get at. So that's super important. And it's constantly evolving. You pick up like maybe a Hal Leonard book, just to pick on Hal Leonard. A book that perhaps was published in the 90s but hasn't been updated, and things move on. You can always tell because you see the first page and you've got the dude sitting there with the guitar, and you can just tell by what he's wearing that, it's the 90s, it's the 80s, it's quite a long time ago, it's not been updated since. So try and find something that is current, that's been updated. Things do move forward, there's new techniques and new philosophies of learning that should be baked and instilled in an updated method. So be aware of that. Super important. I can't stress it enough. Is make sure you find a method. Especially if you're serious, this is a serious hobby, even more important, because you go online and the most, first thing you're going to see is chords, songs, chords and songs. And yeah, in my experience, finding that, they're not always the beginner chords and beginner songs. So just be aware of that. Make sure you're choosing your curriculum wisely. And then we move on. So tip number 3, make time and be consistent. Now, it's definitely one of the benefits of going to a school or having a teacher is you're going to go to them probably once a week, and you've got someone to keep you accountable. You've got someone to kick your butt if you haven't practiced. You've got someone to bounce, your questions off of. Super, super helpful. Obviously, if you are learning at home, you're a home study student, you're learning online, then you might not have that. Depending, obviously, where you're learning, what kind of the school is. If you're just learning the course, you're probably not going to have that. You might have a forum where you can bounce ideas, but probably not. It's going to be all home study. So you're going to have to be very self-motivated. So little things to do is make time in your schedule. Don't try and find time. If you're leaving up to, find time this week to practice, you won't ever find it. Finding time doesn't happen. You've got to make the time. So sit there right now, get out your schedule and think, right, at this time every day, I'm going to pick up the guitar. Or this time, most days, we're going to pick up the guitar. Super important. Bookmarking your day is a really good thing to do. Bookmarking. Is that right? So the beginning of the day, the end of the day. So you have these kind of spots in your day where there's not much happening. In the beginning, when you're getting up, the day's just starting, people aren't probably, grabbing your attention at that point. At the end of the day, when the day's winding down, bookend, that's the word I was looking for, not bookmark, bookend your day. So that's what you want to be looking for. Those sort of times where people aren't getting your attention and robbing you of it, where you've got some time you can really devote to it. So bear that in mind, even just 5 or 10 minutes, start small, build big. We don't need an hour yet, half an hour would be, amazing. Obviously, more time you have, the better, but it's not always about the time, it's about how you're using it. So make sure you are being purposeful in your practice. You have a clear objective and goal. That would come through the other tip, the structure tip, having a structure to go through. And make sure, you're making that time in your day. Super, super important. And the golden rule, never miss 2 days in a row. So if you're aiming for every day, it's okay to miss obviously the odd one here and there. Never miss 2. You start missing 2, that turns to 3, that starts to 4. The habit's destroyed. You lose that momentum. It's all about momentum. If you can get that a little bit every day, you'll find you start seeing the benefit very quickly, and that's going to inspire and motivate you to practice more because you can see the benefits. So bear that in mind, a little bit, frequently. And let's move on. We're going to move on to the next one now. Number 4, be part of a community. Now, another kind of downside really of learning online is, I said it kind of in the last one, you haven't got that teacher to kick your butt, you're very isolated. Being part of a community, and there's loads online, loads of forums, there's obviously the free Facebook groups, loads of those. Just go and type in that Facebook and ones will pop up, special ones for beginners. There's stuff out there, so get in there, you can ask questions, take ideas, you can get resources, and you can get obviously reviews of course and things through there as well. So that's going to be really, really good. The only problem with these kind of free forums is quite often they're populated mainly by beginners. Which is great because obviously there's people on your playing field, so you can kind of see the struggles that they're having and the struggles you're having, so it kind of normalizes your progress. The only problem is, and I've seen this quite often, is someone will put up a question and obviously they're beginners, they haven't got that playing experience to really answer it well. So someone might put up a struggle they're having, and then a lot of the comments come back will be, carry on, hang in there, keep practicing, you'll get there. Which is not, terrible advice, but you might find the problem they're having is technique based. So by, cracking on, just continuing and keep practicing, you're just ingraining that pretty bad technique. So you're actually just practicing being bad. You're practicing that wrong technique. So that isn't very good advice. What we need to do is obviously get in there and see what is actually going on. Is the fingering right? Are we, bending the wrist properly? All these kind of basic techniques that might not be there, which aren't helping. So really important is to get the best type of community. Now this might be a good reason to get a paid community that has a moderator, has actually a teacher in there actually in there helping. A lot of the free ones have been set up by teachers, but they have thousands of members. They can't possibly answer every post, so it tends to be user generated, which again is not bad because there is some great players in there, but just be careful because I say there is some advice in there which is not always the best. So yeah, just be careful of that. And yeah, find a good forum and you can really find a great team of people. So that's that one. Make sure you've got a community. We're going to move on now to the final tip, tip number 5. And tip number 5 is get uncomfortable. Now the idea of get uncomfortable is you're going to hit a certain part in your playing, a certain time period where you're going to need to push yourself. Now that could be and you find it when you're just learning like chords, you find that you need the metronome, you need something to push you need something to get faster. You won't get fast just by playing slow. Equally, obviously, you don't want to play fast and play sloppy. So there's that thin line. But you can see what I mean. You need to kind of push yourself a little bit. This could be submitting a video online of you playing. So you're putting yourself out there. You're looking to get, some creative or constructive criticism. Obviously you get the trolls online, which isn't helpful. But if you're in that closed kind of group, especially obviously a paid one as well, you're going to get people there that are paying. So they've got that kind of motivation to be in there and they want to work. They want to kind of see results. So again, a benefit of that, you're not going to get people just slating your videos. You're going to get people that are actually there that are in the same boat as you and want to get better. So that's something really to bear in mind. So yeah, push yourself. So put some videos out there, ask some questions, be uncomfortable. If you're being uncomfortable, you're putting yourself in a situation that's going to make you stronger and better. So bear that in mind. That could just be playing at home in front of your partner. That could be, telling your friends you actually play guitar and picking up and playing a song for them. That could be going to your local pub and playing in a jam night or something like that. And just being out there and pushing yourself is super, super important. Again, as a beginner, it might take a little while to get to that stage. But even just push yourself, like I say, put on the metronome and making that a little bit quicker. Put on the music and playing along the music. That is a performance. So when we're talking about when you're learning song preps, you want these performances. And a performance is just playing along the music. It's not always going on stage. It's just performer mindset rather than practice mindset. You put on the music and you go from the beginning to the end without stopping. Even if you make a mistake, you keep going. So be uncomfortable. So they are the 5 tips. So just to quickly recap them. We have know your why. So know why you want to start in the first place so you can set yourself up a very clear path and you know exactly where you want to be heading. Follow a structure. Make sure you're working through a solid curriculum. You're not just diving around getting bits and pieces because it's going to be mixed up. You might be learning beginner, but you start picking out videos which are more intermediate advanced, and then you quit because you think, well, I'm also not a guitar player because I can't do that chord they're telling me to do. We don't realize it's a chord which is maybe level 4 or 5 and you're level 1, so you shouldn't be able to do it. It's unrealistic expectation, so bear that in mind. Tip number 3, make time and be consistent. Home study students, if you haven't got a teacher to give you a kick up the butt, you've got to kick yourself up the butt. So make the time and stick to it. Golden rule, don't miss 2 days in a row. Tip 3, be part of a community. You want to be around like-minded people. That's going to help you progress quicker. And then tip number 4, get uncomfortable. Push yourself. Push yourself to post a video. Push yourself to perform in public. Push yourself to get better. And there are the 5 tips. Now, again, if you want to read this online, check out beginnerguitaracademy.com/blog. And if you don't know who we are, just to quickly tell you, Beginner Guitar Academy is an online guitar school, especially for beginners. And I basically made this school because I identified, what should I say, the areas that I thought could be improved with online guitar tuition or online guitar learning. We have a structured method. We use a G4 method, which I use in my offline school, which is very structured. We have 5 levels that I take adults through that build up and build up. So you start, obviously, a beginner, you're going to end a very competent musician. We have progress tracking online. So once you've learned a different lesson or skill or song or riff, you can tick it off. You can see how we're progressing. We have percentages on our courses, so you can see how we're progressing through those. We have an exclusive online community. So a system of forums that you can log into. So you can ask your questions, you can interact with other people. There's even a section on there which we do one-on-one coaching. So you can post videos in there that only I can see, that only you can see. So you can get a bit uncomfortable, but you can get kind of your questions answered. And as I said, teacher support. So I'm there, checking there every day, always available. So in my eyes, it's the best place to learn online. But obviously I might be a little bit favouring that one. But there we go. So hopefully there's a few ideas there you can take away, put into your online learning to help you progress, help you get better. Any questions, obviously drop them in the comments or wherever you're reading or listening or watching this. And yeah, let me know. And I'll hopefully see you again in another video. Thanks for watching.